Hey sewing friends. In my last video I talked about fabrics that I thought I would be sewing and buying and wearing in my retirement life. And one of the fabrics I mentioned was Liberty Lawn or a Tana cotton lawn, because for one, Liberty Lawn has very vibrant printing on it. So the colors are very vibrant and you know, just a deep rich hue to them. I like that Liberty Lawn and Tana cotton lawn. It's very lightweight, and what I really like about it for traveling is that it doesn't wrinkle. It really resists wrinkling, especially for cotton. And so I thought I would put my I'd put my money where my mouth is, and I made a traveling dress out of a Liberty Lawn that I had in my stash. So I made the sleeveless version of the Rhapsody, and I got to tell you, this is probably the nicest Rhapsody I have made ever. I'm so proud of this. Now, you know, it's not perfect, but as we all know, perfection is the thief of joy. Yeah, is that how it goes? But it is one of the nicer dresses that I made, and I'll tell you why here. One of the reasons why I chose the Liberty Lawn is, for one, the colors are vibrant, but we're going to be going to Scotland next month, and as soon as we get off the plane, it is go time. We have just a full day to get to get a lot of stuff done. So we're going to arrive in Edinburgh at 10:30 in the morning after flying all night. So I'm going to be sitting in that dress all night, sleeping in it, but I think I'm going to be comfortable in it. Okay. Then we get off the plane at 10:30. First thing we need to do is go to downtown Edinburgh, where my husband has an appointment to be fitted and to rent a kilt. So the jacket, the shirt, the kilt, the socks, the shoes, the sporran, you know, the whole getup. So we're going to have to go to, you know, right off the airplane, go to the kilt shop. After that, we're going to leave and go to our B&B. We're going to drive to Aberfeldy, or we have to get to Aberfeldy and check into our B&B. By that time, it's going to be late afternoon, and we do have some early dinner reservations with my brother and his friend and my sister and her husband. And so there's just not going to be a lot of time to change, to freshen up. So I thought having something that's going to be a vibrant color, that's going to be resist wrinkling, and I'm hoping to get a denim jacket made to go with this. I think it's going to keep me looking presentable the whole day. Now, as to why I think this is one of the better Rhapsodies that I've made, and it's interesting because last week I wore a Rhapsody dress that I had made a couple years ago. I don't think I wore it last season. And it's interesting, I don't know if you guys have ever done this. Have you ever like not worn something for a season or for a year or for a while, and then you put it on? And when you do, at least with me, I kind of noticed, I don't want to say mistakes, but I noticed some sewing that could have been a little bit better. Let's just put it that way. And that's what got me thinking, oh, Rhapsody, you know. And so I wanted to make another one just to see if I could improve my skills, or to see how much I can improve from that last one. And one of the areas that I learned to improve with was making the ties and doing the binding around the neck and the V. Now, because this is a busy pattern, I don't know if you can see the binding, the bias binding, but what I did do this time, and I've never done before, is I used the bias tape maker. Thought I'd try that. The jury is still out on this. It did work. I'm thinking though that I probably should have used a smaller size because I have 5 sizes in there. Because when it came out, when I pulled it, if I kept my fingers here, sort of, you know, when it came out, the two sides would fold in and touch each other in the middle. If I didn't have my fingers then, right here, what would happen is they would fold over, but there would be a little space in the middle. So then I would sort of have to touch it together, you know, before I ironed it, so that the two outside edges would meet in the middle. So I think I just used a tape maker that was a little bit too big. So I'm going to try it again, and I'll let you know if I think what I think of these and if I'm going to use it again, or if I'm just going to burn my fingers and fold and iron. But what I did do this time, which is something I've never done before, and it is in the instructions, in the Love Notions Rhapsody instructions, is they said to spray the bias binding with spray starch or with starch. So that's what I did. I went ahead and sprayed it. And when I did, I mean, just a little spray and it got soaked, you know, and then it started curling. So I'm trying to stuff it in the maker, you know, the bias maker. Then it came out and I ironed it. Game changer. Oh my gosh, you guys, that bias binding was like, it would, I want to say stiff, but it wasn't stiff and hard. It was just really nice and firm, like the, you know, like when you buy it from the store. And it made it so much easier to handle when I had to tape it, or excuse me, when I had to pin it around the side. It made it easier to fold in and make a clean edge here on the end of the ties. Even touching it now, and I'm sure when I wash it, I'll wash the starch out, but it just is so much nicer than the other times that I've tried to make this kind of ties or the bias binding around it. And because it was so much, I guess, stiffer or had more substance to it, the top stitching that I did was a lot easier. I don't know if you can see it, but that came out a lot nicer and a lot neater than some that I had made in the past. Now, another change or tip that I did to my Rhapsody, which I've done to the ones in the past, and if you've watched the channel, you know that I do like a lining in my skirt. So I did add a lining out of my favorite lining, which is a silk habitai or a China silk that I get from Mood. I have it in my stash in various colors. In fact, I think I need to start kind of restock it because I've been using it so much that I'm running out. So I went ahead and added a lining, which will make, first of all, you won't be able to see through it when the sun shines from behind me. And then I just think a lining, especially a silk one, feels so nice. And then when you stand up from sitting down, your skirt's not stuck between your legs or, you know, your bottom. So yeah, I think that the lining definitely made it nicer. I'm so happy with the ties, and yeah, and I'm curious to see how it's going to hold up on pretty much a 24-hour day when we fly to Scotland. Now, one of the reasons that I chose the Rhapsody dress to make, in addition, because it was on my mind, because I wore one before, but because I only had about a little, just under 2.5 yards of the Liberty lawn. And according to the instructions for, you know, the Rhapsody, the sleeveless dress requires 2 3/8 yards to make for the extra large. I did make an extra large. On hindsight, I probably should have started at a large and then graded to an extra large at the waist and hips. But this is fine. There's plenty of room to move around, and I don't think it looks big or baggy on me. And after laying out the pattern, I realized that I had enough fabric left over to make the flutter sleeve. It only required, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 inches. So I thought, okay, cool. I have enough to make the sleeveless version, but let's add the flutter sleeve. Well, when I got to that part, I added the first one on and I tried it on to see how it would look, and no, that was not working for me. I think the issue with the flutter sleeve is because the word flutter kind of implies that it's very drapey, very fluttery, and a cotton lawn has a little bit more structure to it. So I sort of thought, looking at the sleeveless version versus the one with the flutter sleeves, just took it from being a really nice summer dress to just a dress. I don't know. I went ahead and sewed on one sleeve, and then I just sort of pinned the other one to give me an idea of what it would look like. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. If the flutter sleeve looked okay. I think for my purposes, because it does get warm here in the summer, I think I prefer the sleeveless version. But I still kept the 2 sleeves that I made just in case I want to put them back on maybe after our trip to Scotland. Now, as I just mentioned, it's getting hot here. It is summertime. It's now July and it is hot, and I'm talking upper 90s, hundreds, over hundreds hot, and it's going to remain that way through July and most of August, even into September. The nice thing about September is that by the time the evening comes around, the temperature drops. So I don't really care. Well, I do care. I mean, but it gets to maybe 100, 104 degrees in September. But by the time 6:30, 7 o'clock comes, the temperature drops and it's much more pleasant to be in. But during those 2 months of hot, hot summer, in the evening when I walked the dog, I wanted to make, some sleeveless tops that I showed you about, or that I told you about. And one I showed you, it was my big embroidery debacle when I embroidered my little doggy on, this is a Tessuti Kate pattern. So I went ahead and embroidered the dog, sort of made a mistake and ended up having to do a patch in the back. So I don't know if you can see that. And I was fine with it. I didn't mind wearing it. I don't think it was really noticeable if I was wearing that. Excuse me. And I had washed it a couple times, and the last time I took it out of the wash, there was some sort of almost like plastic that was stuck to it, and I tried to pick it off, and one kind of little knot was affixed to it so much that I felt that if I would have, pulled it off, that I would have made a hole in it. I just would have pulled it, and it would have taken some fabric with it. So, and I don't know what it was. So I thought, okay, well, I picked off as much as I could. Then I thought, let's go ahead and wash it and see if that softens up whatever it is, and see if the shirt looks, I can get it off the shirt. Well, what happened is, see all this discoloration here? Okay, yeah, that's where all that plasticky stuff was. Now, full disclosure, I was wearing it, and this here is a stain. I think I dripped some ice cream on me or something. But the rest of this discoloration is due to whatever got washed. And I have to say, as much as I really loved this top, and again, it was another one that I was so proud I did such a great job on. One of the finishes that I like is the slit here, and how it has these mitered corners. Just gives it a really nice finish. In the back, I had done, I thought, a really good job on this little placket here. But I don't see myself wearing it with this discoloration. I don't even really want to wear it around the house, because I'm afraid that if I do, I'm going to forget about it and then real quick run to the store, run out, and then I'm going to be wearing this shirt with all this discoloration for it. And although I have this second one here that I made, and I still have the little doggy on it, this one, it was a linen viscose blend that I'd gotten from Joanne Fabrics before they went out, and I thought I had pre-washed it, but I don't know. I've washed it twice, and it just seems to shrink every time I wear it. So although I still wear it, I'm just wondering, it's getting shorter and it's getting kind of tighter around the arms. So what I decided to do is I want to go ahead and make some more, but there are other patterns out there that I want to compare to the Tessuti Kate top. Now, the Tessuti Kate top has two variations. One has a high neck like this one that I made, and the other is a scoop neck. So I want to make both of those. And then the ladies in our sewing circle, our Zoom Saturday sewing circle, we were talking about the Helen's Closet Ashton top, because a couple of ladies have made it. A couple of them have bought the pattern since it was on sale last month. And so I think the Ashton top is very similar to the Tessuti Kate top. So I thought, I'll make both of them because it'll give me a little bit of variation. And then just as I'm thinking this, bam, Cashmerette Club comes out with, I think it's called the Thornton, which is another cropped kind of sleeveless tank top. Now, the difference between the Ashton and the Thornton that I see is the Thornton has this French dart that comes from down, kind of low, and then comes up, but it has the same button closure as the Tessuti high neck one. And so I want to make all three of those patterns, and really there are four because the Kate top has the high neck and the scoop neck. So I want to make all four of them and then sort of compare them and see what the differences are, see what the finishes are like. I want to see if maybe I can do this really nice finish with the mitered, corners, if I can transfer that to, let's say, the Ashton or to the Thornton. And the fabrics that I want to use, of course, are some nice linens, but then I have a couple others that I'm thinking of. One is this Indian cotton that I got from Merchant and Mills. I'm curious about this one because this is very thin, very sheer, so I'm wondering if I need to do a lining and kind of, I don't know, I'll have to think about this one. Then another one that fabric I want to use is this eyelet. Now, I told you that I wanted to make a tiered eyelet dress, and I had shown you this gorgeous batiste eyelet that I had gotten from Britex Fabrics. Well, I also have this that I got from Britex because when I ordered this, it said this was an ivory eyelet, and I thought, oh, perfect, I love ivory. And then when it arrived, I don't know about you, but I don't call that ivory, especially when I put it up to this one. I think this one is more of an ecru, and it's kind of like a skin color almost. I'm almost wondering if this is going to be like the naked top. But I thought I would go ahead and make one of them, I'm not sure, either the Thornton, the Ashton, or the Kate top out of this eyelet first, determine which pattern I like the most, and then I'll make the winner out of this nicer kind of what I think is a true ivory eyelet. Now, I had also shown you this inspiration dress that I wanted to make, and I was trying to determine how I was going to get that high-low hemline. Now, I did buy some fabric for it. It wasn't the striped fabric that I thought I would get, but this is just a fabric from knitfabrics.com. Don't know if you could tell the colors, but it is sort of an army green, an olive green, with some black on an ivory background. So I think I'm going to use this fabric. Now, I thought originally that I would try using the pattern piece from McCall's 7351, because you can see that in view C, it does have that high-low hemline. And I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and see how that's done and just transfer it to, a knit pattern that I planned on using. But when I started making the dress, I realized that is not going to work at all. Believe it or not, that high-low hem is from a circle skirt that is cut, I think, it's hard to explain. But I did start making the dress out of this cotton lawn that I have. And I'm not sure how I feel about it, to tell you the truth. I think the dress is fine. I think the fabric is fine, but I don't think the dress and the fabric together is fine. But I do want to try and get that inspiration dress done. So I think what I'm going to do is try and modify this Vogue pattern. As you can see, there is an asymmetrical hem on each side, but then they also have view D that sort of has a high-low hem. And I think that once I look at the pattern pieces, that it may not be perfect, but it might give me a starting point on how to hack the pattern to get that effect. Plus, I've already made this Vogue pattern, so I know that the fit throughout the bodice, the chest and the waist is a good fit for me. So I'll give you an update on that once I've completed that inspiration look.